Général Jamba, assez Oriol. Mon tas de tête à mon bois, le Wayne, mais Kawaba, moi, là. Anissé, les blancs, merci beaucoup. Encore la magie, et puis à des démons. Aïe, et puis à des démons. C'est un j'ai été plié de ça, mais on est black, la one to them. Et pas pour faire de play pour des bottes à Saro. And I will let you when you watch you properly, but you're the man who wait, we are waiting. You'll be Monica, yo. Because the way you blame my anima, mon papa, on est beau firme. Merci beaucoup. In that way, I way, and at the upper son, le très ancien Yves Canet, à Seigneur Okaï, le grand frère Oula Michael, allons seulement. The way, man. And I saw my mom the way man. Classy my mother the way man. You are sound my brother the way man. But no jam my mother the way man. La want the mother the way man. Yete Florent, why there's on the air. Your champion was and they will ready. Oh, Nachichia, oh, your way. Oh, my God, be a jump. Oh, your promo, Pedio. You don't play this one for ready. So I'm for Messiah, enjoy it, Papa. More, yeah, where you go, eh? Come on, you walk for side. Wait, yeah, wait. You did no place to yeah. Casons, yeah, come the way. Bonnie Salva, go the way. What was I? Go the way. You want to find the way. The way, the way, the 40 the way. Way you mon grand frère Clé Armel depuis très longtemps. Pour le way where the boy mamadi, there was a way there must have been a yet. Pour le way where the boy mamana, there was a way there that you want mamana. Pour le way where the boy mamma, there was a way there that you felt some more. The way you want someone more dear, one idea in a kaida no pokon. Oh, yeah, you my dear, my young way, you to that. Calvé, ya was a lot. My guilty, I had it to you. I'll say the Français.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to Lpr-Tv special presentations. I'm Alphonso Zean Soe right here at the New England Bureau Desk of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Welcome to our listeners, viewers, wherever you are. We say good morning to good evenings. Let's get the program going to right here. New political front lines in Liberia. Good evening and welcome to this program. It's Friday, TGIF. We want to welcome our viewers, listeners across the globe. New political frontline in Liberia. Would that shift the directions of the 2023 presidential election? We don't know here. It's too soon to call. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I am Alphonso Zean Soe. Stay tuned. We're going to have a conversation, your opinions, your views, your sections and your own predictions all will be heard right here this evening, live on LPR and Lpr-Tv in Liberia.
Voici votre bébé, Madame Do Solange, la première dame du Guémon. Maman, j'ai dit sier, à Ponio,
Okay, we want to thank you so much. Good evening. We say welcome. I'm Alphonso Zean Soe of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv right here taking control at the New England Bureau Desk. And of course, you, our prompt and valuable listeners, viewer, we want to welcome you this Friday evening. So we're going to be having some predictions. We want to get your view, your opinion. Look, if you want to form part of our tonight's conversation here, we always say this over and over. We are determined to take these conversations of Liberia from the hands of the politicians and let the ordinary Liberian decide and talk about the country, because the politicians, they will always shift and tweak their conversation to get you confused, diffused, and diffused. You pick which one is right. Bottom line, we need to take the conversation. If you are well positioned in a comfortable position, and you want to form part of this conversation, let me know. I'm going to put that link out there. All you do, you're going to copy and paste, and you're going to join this conversation here. And you're going to have your free will, free mind to speak. When you think about your country, you're not going to be sanctioned as long as it is discussed in a civil context. You have the right to disagree with me, disagree with your peers and other person who is participating. But all we need is civil conversation right here on this network, because we see and we believe that's the way out. Well, you know, I know, we have seen a new political front line opens in Liberia, Lofa County. All the big political gurus, the guns, the heavyweight, whatever descriptions you're going to give them, they are convergent in Lofa County in the last and final minute push. Would that tend to shift the momentum or resurrect someone that is drowning politically? It's high to say. It's too close to call that XZ or this person is the front runner at this time. What? Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka and the entire hierarchy of the opposition to Unity Party, they are all there. Kaluba from the ANC still hanging in there with the hope of a collaboration to survive. Senator Ibrahim Darius DeLong of the Liberty Party, they are all there. Whereas Alexander Benedict Cummings is en route to the United States for the big fundraiser, maybe thinking about the big jackpot. Boyka is in his own time. Well, what we see, like when we connect or relate this to the soccer game, home and away, Joseph Boyka seems to be at home with the spectators, with the participants, with the electors, giving that home advantage. I have no idea as to how this is going to play out and how the conclusions of this race is going to be like. So this is what I want to have you and myself, both of us, to have a conversation about our country, about Liberia, because we can perfectly discuss about Liberia. The politicians will always fine-tune their message. They will always craft their message. They will always reconstruct their message. And sometimes it tends us to put us in the bubbles, and we find it very difficult to get out because we are being put in there and we are being barricaded by their cosmetic words and tone language and their soundbite. We intend to undo that, and we have undone that as already. We want to welcome all our viewers, Madam Richard Hammond. Good evening, to welcome. Thank you for always being here. Let's give a little bit of recognition here to Vera Horace, Tunkin Zia, and our man SK from the neighboring state, the liberal state of Massachusetts. The liberal is still on the run. Director Service, thank you so much. Global Johnson. And Randers Tammo, JMB. He seems to be a strong fanatic of JMB. He's never missed a trick. And of course, Ibrahim Bangut will say welcome. Enot, Oketemos, and of course, our own man, Dualo. Welcome. Dualo, you want to make a prediction here this evening as to what's going to be the outcome of what's going to be playing out? So I'm wondering, the outcome of Lofa comes on the 28th. Will it literally bury somebody politically, or will it shift the conversation to resurrect the conversation? So technically, if you look at it, the pressure is on the political pressure is on Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka. History needs to repeat itself. We know what happens with the issues of former police chief. Short term, he was a short term elected senator. They didn't take the seat. They didn't go on Capitol Hill. J. Brani Samuka announced another candidate is in the field. The party chairman, they are all there. Now, would this be the pivotal point for Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka? What happens if the game is shifted or is shifted? The seditions also arrive. Who can run wrong? Who can run stay one, stay two? My goodness. Capitol Hill. They want to go on Capitol Hill. They want to craft some laws and stuff like that. Put legislations in place. Maybe it'll be, they want from 30K, maybe it will rise above the sea level. It'll go to maybe 60 or 70K. All of that. Okay, folks, we want to welcome you. Thank you so much for sharing your evenings with us. Whatever we are. So like I said, we're seeing the new front line being open. So it's quite interesting. Our guys have posted it. We intend to have him here, but also bear in mind, it's after 8 years, so it's like after 12. But I'm telling you, from what information we are hearing from our guys in the field, in Lofa, the surroundings of Lofa. Lofa is crowded. Everybody in a fight. We want to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. We want to see. Door to door, the Jehovah's Witness type, they are arriving. They are in droves hitting in Lofa County. An ambassador is there. He's in his own town, like his backyard. What will happen, God forbid, if the tires turn around? Would there be a different conversations within the Unity Party as to what he, Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka, can put it off? These are all consequential, unknown questions. One of the person helping me out to drive this conversation to the point, hopefully you will understand, and you also can contribute, is man from the far right. Amos George is a senior political analyst of the Liberia Public Radio. The liberal progressive is still on the run, still on contemporary leave. We have no idea when he's coming back, but definitely he will be back. But I tell you, when he comes back, he will have a squeeze up place to be, because all his fans are sick and tired of asking. He doesn't like his fans. He's running away from his fans. He doesn't want to take responsibility. One day he at this end, another day he's at this end. Uncertainty, unbalanced political beast. That's the liberal progressive. Don't tell him what I'm doing here. I'm gonna give him praises. He's a very good guy. Okay, so we are here. We are here, so we want to make sure that we have our man Fofana from the Empire State. Good evening and welcome. Like I said, if you want to form part of this evening conversation, let us know. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put the video link out there, but don't be driving, and because the life you say could be your own or that of a friend. You can be in a comfortable place. Don't lay down. Don't be in your bed. Don't be drinking champagne. I know today is Friday. The rare cups, put a rare cup somewhere, anywhere you can put it. I have mine, but it's far from the table. It would be very disrespectful to you for me to come here. If you see me drinking this is just called ordinary cold water, but you have no idea what is inside. But I'm just telling you, it's cold water, clear, plain water is inside. So, folks, thank you so much. Okay, Sissy, how do your viewer to contribute to the conversation? Okay, there are two ways. I'm going to be putting the number out here. We're going to do Let's Talking. Sissy, I'm going to put the number out here, and I'm going to put the video link. If you prefer to come by video, some people, they don't like camera. They say camera, they ain't camera. And I'm friend, they use broom to fly also, so they don't like camera. But I'm going to put the number out here. We want to make sure that everybody have it. It's interesting. Lofa now is the new spot, new open political opening in Lofa. Boyka there, Abraham Darren Dillon there, Yeke Koluba there, everybody there, but who what? Guess what? Coming, we have been told by some folks close to Arizona coming. Let this event will be touching down right here in the U.S. Series of multiple type fundraiser and activities on the part of the ANC. We'll keep tracking all of that. Boyka say, I go into my Lofa, yeah. Let me face the one that before me first, because if not, it's going to get ugly. So let me do it. Let me put it here, and I'm going to put a link up. Let me put a video link here. All you need to do, if I put it up there, you can copy and paste, right? And then so you can join the conversation. But I just urge you, I'm going to put it right here in the comment link. And you can also do that. Okay. All right, that's the lane that let me just see what I can have a paint as well. Hold on one second. Let me just see here. That's the lane here. All right, let me just pin the lane here. We keep it up there for a little while. You can just copy and pin it in your browser. It can be your cell phone or whatever device that you prefer to use. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for showing up. Here come Little T from the Garden City. I wanted the pepper in New Jersey and they start with the pepper. Because when I play Open Philadelphia, people go there, they can kill all in one day time. I'd have to call the government and post sanction. There's a good friend, a good follower, also here on the Liberia Public Radio. I was shocked yesterday. I was told he passed away. I've not had a chance to talk to the family. He lives in California. I can remember a couple of years back. Let me bring in Amos Joyce yet, and we can have this here. I was shocked. We know of today, we don't know of tomorrow. Believe me, this life that we live, a lot of uncertainty. Let me bring in Amos Joyce. Is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR. LPR. Mr. Joyce, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Soe, and how you doing? And good evening to our audience.
I'm doing okay, but before we get the program going, there's a gentleman. I don't know him. We're going to put his picture up here. I got a message yesterday that he passed, and he's one of our followers. A quiet guy. He doesn't like talking, and he made a contribution to this network here. Not only because he made a contribution, but he's such a good gentleman. Not a single day will come here. He one of those. He will hit that share button. We don't agree on a lot of things, and I was shocked when I got the news yesterday that he passed in California. I call him Uncle Ben. Maybe most people probably they would know him. Let me just see what I can put it here. Ben. Let me see here. We can get a picture here. I couldn't believe it. This is the gentleman. He lives in California. He's a very strong. I had it. He participated in a show a couple of years ago. He doesn't like talking. He's not a talker. All his thought is in tweet. But he lives in California, and I believe he's. If you see a profile, you say he's a seditious, which is okay. But you would never know that he's such a quiet guy who talks on substance and issue. We learned that he passed in California, and So our prayers and thought goes out to the bereaved family for the demise of the late Ben Nyan. Ben Nyan is a very fine and decent man. Okay, Mr. George, good evening and welcome.
Yes, sir.
How the Friday going, man? What's the G's in the town?
Too many, man. Too much.
No diary to keep them in.
No. Ain't got no diary to keep them.
Okay. Seba Harris, good evening and welcome. You want to come join the fries? The link, I put a link out there. That's a video link there. Anybody want to come? Why the women, they don't like to talk about library? There'll be there was Jehovah's Witness talker. There'll be in the background. There'll be firing with tweets and all of that. Why they don't want to get involved in this? They see their friend Nyombi Kanga and all of that. Why they don't want to get involved? They don't want to show face.
Yeah, most of the women don't want to show face.
Why do you think?
I fear that, you know.
Because the way we treat, the way people treat people, or
yeah. It's not that we per se, but the public, you know.
Yeah, they all owe me a party, papi. They say anything. Well, you water we care right? You get nothing.
So it's the public, because when they see some of these people faces, you know, sometimes they tend to go after them. Very hard.
If I say no thanks, okay.
You see, there's so.
I know I'll call you.
Yeah.
Okay, but the video link is there, and I'm going to put a number, here as well, just in case you want to talk. Okay, here is the deal. This is a do or die. You remember this song the children used to sing those days? Who can run? Oh wow. Okay, that's good. I love this brother. Guys, who's coming on with boldness? My goodness, let me face myself. Oh Lord, we gotta know. It's gonna be interesting here this evening. Let's get the show going. I'm Alphonso Zean Soe. Okay, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Wherever you are, do us a favor, hit that share button. Leaving the city, jam-packed city, Monrovia, politicians are now seeking temporary shelter in Lofa County. It's the next battleground because that could potentially resurrect somebody politically, or they could meet their political demise, either on the party level, standard bearer level, or whatever level. Well, Liberians find interest to have a conversation. Mr. Sisi is joining Liberia Public Radio. We are wholeheartedly welcome. At least somebody is taking the bull by the horn by taking this conversation from the hands of the politician. Let me go there to him. He's in a nice, beautiful place there. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we go. Man. Okay, let's see. He's our guest. He's a special person here this evening here. So let me put him here. Let us see. In a nice place. My man, what's up? Are you on a cook out or what?
No, my man, I just my love and the play top better go can eat play. So I'm calling you from Minnesota. So,
I hear you. Okay. All right. Good evening. How you doing, my dear brother? Welcome to the program.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Look, from time to time, this is what we want to do. We intend to take the conversation from the hands of the politician. The Liberians in and out express or see themselves differently. They would know exactly why it is. Let me get it here so Imam George will get it known. Okay, so here we are. Now, normally they're not fighting war. So using the war front line here is a literal war using to certify the political conversation that we're going to be using. And I'm quite sure, let me start with you. What's the last name? How do you want me to call you? Sisi or Goya?
Yes, Sisi Goya. I'm from Lofa County. So.
Oh man, John Palmer, yes. Wilson, John Ray. I see what my man out of the share here quick. So we're going to see, we're going to get a little pick out of the Lofians here, what they are curious and what they are looking. Okay. My guess, you are monitoring what is going on in your own town, Lofa, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we also give people to you, if you want to plead the fifth, it's up to you. But we also give our fans and participants to give a full disclosure. If you want to do it, that's all. The fifth is allowed to be. Also, we accept the flow. Yeah.
No,
do you have any political attachment? Huh?
I'll give a full disclosure. It's fine.
Okay, so let's hear from you. Are you associated with any political institutions in Liberia? Yeah. And
Yes.
you care to tell us where are you leaning?
Yeah. So presidential candidate-wise, my candidate is Tiawan Gonglo, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo. I am the co-chair of the Team Gonglo in Minnesota. But I am from Lofa County. I am actually the vice president for the Federation of Lofa Association in the Americas. So I am a bona fide Lofian.
Your impeachment is on the way.
Well, in the course of Mama Liberia, we can take any impeachment.
This is
strong and tall.
Okay. It seems to be LPR and Sky TV special presentation will be today. The man is from Lofa County, but he's seeking political accommodation in Nima County, which is also good. It's Liberia. Amos George, where are you two? Or where are you?
ANC.
ANC? Oh, don't ask me where I am. I'm neutral in this whole thing. Don't start.
But, you know, listen. The late Desmond Tutu said, there's no neutrality in any given circumstances. He said, either you for or you against.
Okay.
That the late Desmond Tutu.
Let me start with Mr. Sissina. He has injected something here to change our conversation, but I will do as much as possible to keep you on course because I know the strategy that he's going to deploy here this evening as well. So if you think it's going to work here, it's not going to work with me here. I'll be inside for a little while. So how can somebody from the Lofa side that will be scratching their ear, what the heck this guy is talking about? He's from Lofa, and yet he's talking about Tiawan Gonglo. He's the chair. He's there. How did it happen and why?
Well, I think the why is more important than the how, right? Okay. The why is, what do we hold as our common denominator? Liberia. What do we want for Liberia? It's a forward progress, a forward march. For quite too long, we've been stymied, we've been stagnant, we've been held back, simply because we've been doing politics as usual. And what politics as usual in Liberia has always been, yeah, I like that dude, but he's not from my village. Yeah, I like that guy, but he's not from my church. Yes, I like that guy, but we don't speak the same language or we didn't go to the same school. So if we are going to make sure that Liberia changes course, then there has to be a concerted action. There has to be a way for us all to act together. And the only way to do that is we got to change our mindset. We got to change our thinking. We got to start thinking, how do we put Liberia first and everything else secondary? And so that is the how I got to picking Tiawan Gonglo as my candidate in the presidential election. Regardless of the fact that he's from Nimba County, he's still Liberian. Regardless of the fact that he's way far away from me, I have seen in Tiawan Gonglo somebody who I think can clearly articulate what the issues are in Liberia and has sat on the old mat that he wants to plot a new mat, because he's shown us what with grace and effort and intelligence what it means to be a leader in Liberia. So yes, I do agree that I do have people from my own county who are prominent running to be presidents. But I think if Liberia ought to change, if Liberia ought to succeed, we have to go way beyond sectionalism and we have to go beyond tribalism and try to pick people that we know will do the best for our country. And that is the how I got to Tiawan Gonglo.
Let me conduct a political forensic right now. Prior coming to Tiawan Gonglo, were there any political association, any other party?
Yeah. So the last election, the last presidential election, I supported Joseph Boakai. Was on the fence with Komis. And I supported Boakai, but I didn't support the Unity Party. I am not a fan of the Unity Party. But I felt like, you know, it's almost
how do you reconcile that? You're not a fan of Unity Party, but you support the candidate of a Unity Party. How does
so here's the thing. I supported his ideology that he expanded. I did not support people voting for down ballot candidates. If I supported the Unity Party, I would support all of the senatorial candidates and everybody and say, yeah, vote for everybody Unity Party, right? So say one, so say all. At that point in time, I'm going to say here that we had a choice between George Weah and Joseph Boakai. And I know people say there's no lesser of two evils, but I'm a mathematician. There are differences in affinity. So since I believe there are differences in infinity, I believe there are differences in evil. So I chose Joseph Boakai, over George Weah, saying how we didn't have other options. And I studied Cummings. So after the last election, I actually leaned Cummings for a long time. I leaned Cummings up until the point Tier 1 decided to enter. And I had to check and see.
And what happened in that entering?
Well, between Tier 1 Gonglo and Cummings coming in, full disclosure, Tier 1 Gonglo is not in the race. My guy is Alexander Cummings. Point blank, period. But when you bring in more competitors, then you have to allow voters to kind of sit back and recalibrate, right? So, for example, in Fiamma, Bukara predator, right? In Fiamma, tilapia the predator. So if we change that ecosystem and we allow the salt water to flow into Fiamma, then Bukara no longer becomes a predator, becomes a prey, because now the ecosystem has changed. So it was the same thing that happened in this political dispensation. When the ecosystem changed, after the elections, I chose Cummings. Well, when Tier 1 came in, that changed the balance of stuff. So I had to go back and recalibrate. But if Tier 1 is not in the race, then my guy is Alexander B. Cummings, period. But the fact that Tier 1 is in the race, my guy is Councillor Tier 1 Gonglo.
What a refined contingency plan that you have in place. Amos George, do you want to engage this guy? I think we need to hire him, but we don't have money to. I would like to have a conversation with people here on their shoulder with seasoned thoughts in a safer context and well calculated. We're going to talk that after. Sure. Is there a special way you want to welcome me, Mr. George?
Yeah, but
I think you are getting nervous because the guy he picked 12. Don't hate him here. Don't be too mean to him because he say for 12 Gonglo and you are an ANC guy.
Oh no. I mean, that's the beauty of democracy. For people to have choices. That is the beauty. And that's why we try to yearn for in Liberia. Everybody should have the will, the right to select or to choose who they want to. But before I say anything, why you tell my analysis of the ecosystem?
so you know, when you talk about Bukai in Liberia, right? I grew up in Fiamma, so I just want to put it out.
But Fiamma is my neck of the wood. That's where I grew up. That's why
I grew up in Weze Fiamma. So yeah, I grew up in Fiamma. So I wanted to talk about something that I know, something that I can
something that he's like
the Maximo, the cassette.
Oh, okay, yeah. My first job in Liberia when I graduated high school was teaching at Matadi Baptist right after Fiamma, right before the junction splitting New and Old Matadi, right there in Fiamma was my first job I had in Liberia. So I grew up in Fiamma, I grew up in Weze. I know what that swamp is like. That's why I use that analogy.
This guy is trying to deploy a strategy to get you over to ANC. So he want to make friends now. He bringing in our Fiamma Solidarity Union here. Don't bring that here, please.
No, I mean, when you go Fiamma, that's my heartbeat.
Okay, so
but let me ask you this question. You said 2017 you voted for Boakai.
I didn't vote.
Oh, you didn't vote?
No, I supported.
You supported Boakai, okay. And so let me ask you now. You supported the Boakai. What changed? What did you see in Boakai and that of Mr. Chango Gonglo that sway you to Tenwan Gwaku? What's the difference? What did you see? Oranges and apple.
Well, I think the point I made earlier was that in the situation that I supported Omer Boakai was because the calculus we had at the time, there were only two variables. There was Omer Boakai and George Weah. And at the time that were formidable, right? So I want to be respectful. There were other people in the race, but when we're talking about what were the formidable forces at that point, right? I want to talk about who, because what's his name? The Liberty Party was in, and the ANC was in, and the LPP, everybody was in. But I'm looking at when we got to the point where it was between George Weah and the Omer Boakai, I picked the Omer Boakai because I felt like when it came to knowing how to run a country, the Omer would be a little bit more experienced. Now the calculation has changed because we sat back and we watched, and now this is a new dispensation. And after the election, what drew me to ANC and Cummings was that quite too often in Liberian politics, right after elections, the opposition, the losing parties, pack up. They don't have any existing headquarters. They pack up and they leave, like they never existed. And then they come back asking the Liberian people on the eve of the election to vote them in. I saw something different in Combs. He stayed. He didn't leave. He could have left and come back to the United States in comfort. He didn't do that. So for me, that won an admiration for him on that point. So when you asking me about, comparing Tier 1 Gonglo to Ome Boakai, I got to lay out there. I'm from Lofa County. Ome Boakai is my uncle. I have to be respectful traditionally, so I can't say anything disrespectful. But what I can say to you is, why Tier 1? Well, I would say Tier 1 because like I said, he has shown us integrity. In the history of Liberia, as far as I can remember, I might be very young, but as far as I can remember, and please call me out to correction, there are very few people in Liberian history who will resign from a government on policy issues. Quite too often what happens is we stay in because we still getting our eating. Even though we disagree vehemently with the government, we stay in. Till one day that with the alien government, he left. Right? We're looking at somebody who put his life on the line with Charles Taylor to make sure that he fought for human rights, even at the threat of death to him. For me, there's somebody telling me the mat he sat on. We're looking at somebody who nobody can tell me has been involved in corruption. Because in Liberia, the killer of our resources, the killer of our forward march, the killer of equity and access to education is corruption. That is the one pandemic and endemic that we have not been able to inoculate our people against. It's corruption. And so when we find that one person who has lived in Liberia all his life and has not been mired in corruption, has not been infected by that disease, then that is somebody we need to say, well, he might have an antidote. Or he might have, when you get vaccinated, you start to build resistance. He might have that resistance. So maybe we need to see what is in his gene that we need to harvest.
So what a minute here.
So that we inoculate our other
Look, this is LPR. We don't allow people to roller skate here. And because I'm going to send you a bill now, because there seems to be as I told you, you're not going to change your conversation here to Tier 1 affairs here. That's Tier 1. When Tier 1 paid, then they will come here.
I was only answering the question.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so it's quite interesting. Now, does it mean that Liberia is an experimental ground politically? Okay, we tried this person, it didn't work here, so this one, and I'm just trying to dwell on that, and we're going to be shifting gear here now. Tier 1 seems to be the guy. He seems to meet all of the requirements, the political skills, political tolerance, whatever other word that you wish to deploy here. He seems to be the guy. Is he ready? Now, being a human rights advocate, resigning as a minister of labor in the sitting government for some politicals or some differences, there's a big gap in that to become a commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Republic of Liberia, where the decision of the country rests solely on you, whether you're sleeping, you're standing up. Now, his star, his advocacy, which we can also inject part of empathy, sympathy, everything factor in. How can he square? I don't want to bring these questions that I really want to ask Tier 1. I don't want to bring them here because you're a Tier 1 guy already. Do you think, are you having any apprehension that that's going to be something that's going to be a thing that he's going to struggle with to make some tough decisions when he becomes a commander-in-chief of the Republic of Liberia?
No, I don't think so. I think what it takes to be a president, what it takes to be a commander-in-chief is first having a grasp of governance, so how governance work, how the structures in government work, and having that intellect to be a human, to have that empathy, to understand kitchen table issues. If you have fought for human rights, if you have gone to court to defend the rights of the downtrodden, being called, in our Liberian language, the poor man lawyer, that means you understand what it means to be poor. It means you understand what it means to live in the bottom 5% or 10% of a country. Anybody who understands that, who empathizes with that, who can appreciate that, I think has the ability and the intellect to lead. But here's one thing, though. I want to draw you back because you started this with saying it's Liberia a testing ground. In politics, every year, every country is a testing ground, right? Unless you're voting over and over the same president, you're bringing in people who have never been presidents. So you're bringing people in who don't have that one requirement. Have you been a president before? So what we do is we don't judge people on have you been a president before. We judge you on the totality of all of the other things. Do you understand me? Do you know what it is to be mean? How it is to ride keke? How it is to ride pimping? Do you know what it means to live in the zing round and be a credible graduating high school without a job? Do you know what that means for my rights to be trampled upon by people who have authority and misuse that? Do you know what it means? And if you can answer yes to those questions, then I think people ought to give you a serious consideration. And Tiawan Gonglo answer yes to all of those questions, and that is why I'm giving him a serious consideration.
But let me bring you to this point. All what you have said, we heard that before. We heard the Professor George Well from Gibraltar. He grew up in the swamp. He know what hunger looked like. All that one we heard it. But some of them were very doubtful of his leadership and said no. Yes, he has empathy, sympathy. He put you in your shoe. He knows your condition. But some of us say he don't have the capacity to lead Liberia. But people say, hey, forget it. The man being he know the situation. Now we have Chairman Congo. You've seen all these things. But as Mr. Soe, there are some questions someone needs to ask Chairman Congo, Councilor himself. Because we have not seen the economic policy of Chairman Congo. If he's going to build a school, where the money is going to come from? If he's going to build a hospital, where he's going to take the money, what part of the budget will cut? How he's going to raise the money? So we are not seeing all those things. So we just ask the question for the pundits who come on and say, well, they answer the question from their perspective. Because we talk about democracy, he worked with the late Dr. Amos Sawyer from almost 6 years. So there's some things that happened during that time. And we want to ask him, what was Sawyer thinking at the time when some of those things happened in Liberia? And he was part of that government.
You know, Pa George.
So we can have that. 1 second, please, Mr. Soe. So we can have that conversation. I'm going to wait. I think, Mr. Soe, I will let you know. You can call me back on your program at any time you want to have that debate into that concept.
Yeah.
But what I did say that you missed out was that empathy and everything is there. But I did say from the beginning that you have to understand governance. And George Weah did not check their box on governance.
Oh, George Weah was senator.
Here's the thing. That's a difference. That doesn't mean you understand governance. I didn't say you have to be elected. Those are two different things, right? You being electable and being elected and having what?
A policy maker.
Yeah, again, here's my point. Being a policy maker does not mean you understand governance. You're still trying to muddy this and you will not get this muddied out, right?
No, I'm not
what? Well, okay, yeah, what we're gonna do. Pa George.
Yeah.
Because I could ask you the same thing about Alexander Cummings, who's never been in government anywhere. But I don't want to do that because I'm answering based on my candidate. I'm answering the question based on my candidate because here's what I don't want to do. I don't want people to vote against your candidate. I want people to vote for my candidate because that's the difference. The only time you go out advertising people to vote against other people's candidate is you don't have a strong enough candidate. We are believing in our candidate, so we are talking for him instead of talking against other people. That's the reason I haven't brought out any other candidate.
Folks, the conversation is about to get on the way, and we're going to return to baseline. I am Alphonso Zean Soe right here at the New England Bureau Day. Okay, this is Lpr-Tv and SCAR special presentations. A new political frontline is open or is on the way in Lofa County, and this is where we're going to direct our conversations. We're going to put a Amagandi ring for Councilor Tuawan Gonglo and his folks, Dr. Do, Kamara, all of them being coming here. It seems to have a lot of geniuses in this place here, and they are coming here. But okay, guys, gentlemen, let's redirect our attention to Lofa County. All these political giant heavyweights, Goliaths, they are now seeking temporary shelter in Lofa County. Let's play some images or some soundbite, courtesy of some sister network television in Liberia, and we will have a conversation right here, right now. Let's look at this.
is very, very good. The hospitality of the people here, everywhere. And one of the things that I have noticed about Lofa County all of this time, wherever we've been going, one of the things you see that the people really respect tradition. I must tell you for sure, the people here really respect tradition. And no matter what you do, where you go, we will always call the former vice president our uncle, and all of the elderly people, be it Loma, Mandingo, or Bani, or all of them, they will present a well rooster or white chicken and a cola nut as a sign of respect and as a sign of welcoming the former vice president and his entourage in Lofa County. I can tell you for sure, here in Lofa, we have the Honorable Steve Zako, who is the senator of Lofa County, the only senator right now. We also have the former vice president here. We have the chairman of the Unity Party, Amin Modaye. We have Honorable Prince Moi of Bon County.
Okay, gentlemen, all of these guys left their comfort home. They're now seeking temporary shelters in the interest of political correctness, try to solidify their political basis or whatever it is. This train is being led by Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka, Madat, Chairman, Yeke Koluba, and all of those people. Darius Dillon is there. Let me start with Amos George. Is this enough for one to draw a conclusion that with the presence of Joseph Boyka and home advantage, but not a football game, unfortunately, we don't know who are going to vote, how they're going to vote. They're not going to be in the stadium there for people to be cheering and all of that. Is this enough that Ambassador Boyka can have a sound sleep?
I told you, at the end of the day, the Unity Party will win, name recognition and everything. But what I was laughing at is that these people are all jokers. If they have this weight, when Brandon Samoka was being pushed around by the government, why Ambassador Boyka did not exert this kind of pressure to bring on the government representing the people of Lofa and why? But anyway, let me just say this. But there are something that will go on in this country. Tamofala, Finabono, Jefferson Kochi, Molba Molu. The four guys, they are backing Councillor Joseph Jala. If they win, if Jala wins, then that will be the new ground for CDC, Lofa County. That will be the new ground for Lofa County because they will say, hey, we now got Lofa County. That will be one scenario for them. The other one is CDC. They said they were not putting on no candidates, so it's just to tell you that, hey, they had no ground there. So they had him behind someone who's a councillor of Jala. When he wins, then they say, hey, CDC now got Lofa County. The second one is if Joseph Boyka wins, then it will just be reinforcing his message that I'm the doyen of Lofa County. I am the godfather. He would say, like, I'm not the late candidate. I don't have to run campaign in Lofa. I can just sit and call my name, put someone here to win. That will just reinforce his message that, hey, I am the one. The third one of the factors that I say that will cause the Unity Party to win is because the people of Lofa County, they have been feeling like they have been disenchanted by the government against some of our issue. So even though we know what happened to explain everything, but the bottom line, they feel that they were deprived of somebody that they elected. So therefore, second round, whoever they bring again, they will want to prove to the CDC-led government that this place is not for you. What you did to us, we will come back to prove that we will stay beat you. I don't care who you go behind. That would be another scenario for them. And the tribe, the Loma are the largest tribe in Lofa. So you can chip from the lawman, but you will not have that group. If you have that whole lawman majority behind you, then you can be sure of victory. I think Jara from the Bani, I think from the Bani.
Yeah, Bandisa. Let me hold your piece there. Let me hold your piece. Let's make it equilibrium. Let me provide some basis for CC to also make his argument. Let's roll this tape here, and for us to get it done. Hold on to 1 second. Okay, let's see here. That's the CDC also entering, even though we don't know that's the candidate, but that's the CDC group that will enter into a foyer today. Let me see if I can kind of like forward this here. Let's
welcome the CDC delegation to Lofa County. This is Freedom Radio Liberia live in Foya District, Lofa County. Freedom Radio Liberia live in Foya District, Lofa County. Bringing you what is unfolding here.
Okay. All right. That's it. So this is it's interesting. What are you laughing for? Now, this is a dev do race here. Ambassador Boycott, I see this to be his political career on the line as well. We don't know what history is going to repeat itself. But is it enough saying his presence, the surrogates, all of those top guns of Unity Party, the opposition being present there, is it enough for us to go to bed sound and say the deal is done?
Well, first thing, let me differ a little bit with my senior brother here, that Ambassador Boakai should have used the same prestige to have defended Brani Samukai. Those are two different issues. That was the case in the court of law, and we had expected everybody in Liberia to abide by law. Now, having said that, I really think the opposition is, you're like using a hammer to kill a mosquito. That's what they're doing right now in Lofa County. Well, they really didn't need all those people. They really didn't. Look, if you understand Lofa County politics, I think the CDC understand Lofa County politics. That's the reason George Weah is not in Lofa County. That's the reason they have not come out, explicitly to say they endorse Councilor Jara, albeit that Thomas Farah, who could not win an election, his own election in Maserado, that Jefferson Koji, who lives in Maserado, could not deliver Maserado to Thomas Farah, that Fina Bondo and Morba Molu could not deliver Maserado where they live, where they've lived for the longest time. Ask them, when was the last time they were in Lofa County? They can't deliver one vote in Lofa. You couldn't deliver Maserado where you grew up and lived. Have all of your friends in Maserado. You couldn't deliver Maserado. Lofa County. But the reason George Weah has refused to put his name out there to go out to Lofa County is because he understands that the people behind the scenes are telling him that this is not a winnable case, and so you don't even send people who are in your second tier. You send third tier people, because if the CDCs were really serious about this fight, they would have sent McGill. Right? They would have sent other people out there, not the likes of Thomas Farah. So they already know, they've already seen that this fight is over. Just like they did in Maserado, but they had to hold on to, to save face. And so I'm saying this because in Lofa County, there is history. There is history of how the CDC government has treated Lofians. Again, I don't endorse Joseph Boakai. I'm not a fan of the Unity Party, but I'm supporting Kanapa Kotimai. Because at this point, Councilor Jara would have had a better fight had the CDC not endorsing. He would have had a better chance of the CDC not endorsing. The CDC has poisoned his chances for winning. Because for a long time, for good or for bad, or indifference, the people in Lofa County have seen their disenfranchisement through the debacle of the former defense minister as being the doing of the CDC government. And we've been holding that. We've seen, since the CDC government came to power, that even the community college in Lofa County, the budget got reduced. It got cut drastically. We've seen vendetta that's been vetted out against Lofians by this government. So it doesn't matter You know, even if George Weah had flown
Yet
his
and still, Tazizi, you have sons and daughters that who sits with the king. They are the right hand. They get the ears of the king. I'm talking about the commander-in-chief. So how can ordinary Liberians to say, wait a minute, what is going on here? What we need to know that we do not know. If you have all of these great, you have a party chairman, Koji, the Bono, and all of those people, are the right hands of the president, and for this guy to be telling us Lufians they are being humiliated or whatever, people will find it difficult to believe.
But Mr. Soe, here is the point though. When the left hand or the right hand, whatever it is, of the president have a leprosy, it is not functional. And I think all of those left hands you just called, they all have leprosy. They're not functional. They're all in there seeking themselves. They're not advising the president to tell the president how Lufian feel. None of those people, like I said, none of them have their ears on the ground in Lofa County. None of them, the mobile model, anybody cannot tell you they can deliver 10 votes. And the Senate, the representative cannot deliver any vote outside of Foya district. If you see CDC propaganda, everything about Councilor Jada has been in Foya district. You know the largest district in Lofa County? We're not talking Foya district. You're not even counting Zozo. You're not even counting Vonjama. They have limited themselves to Foya because they're trying to make it look like, okay, now...
Is that Thomas Fala or Kudi?
Thomas Fala. You know,
Thomas Fala, Koji, they are from that.
They're from the same place. Thomas Fala, Koji.
That's where they're directing their resources.
Yes, Thomas Fala, Koji, and Finabondo, they're all from Foya district.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you see everything is talking about is Foya district. They will not tell you anything outside of Foya district. They can't tell you Zozo district, Salaye district. They can't tell you the fact that, you know why Yeke Koluba wore the Koluba stuff? Because Yeke Koluba is from Salaye district. And among Lofa people, the name Koluba means you are an acolyte. You know what it means in the church? The acolytes come before the preacher. You are an acolyte to the traditional preacher. And so when the acolyte appears, whatever the acolyte says, he is interpreting the direct mandate of the preacher. And so that's why you find that all of the videos of CDC will not talk about Zozo district or Salaye district because the Kolubai, the acolyte, has come. And they can talk about it.
Do we see him as a game changer to the presence of Kolubai and that of Ambassador Boyka?
Tradition in host. And yes, because tradition hosts, yes, absolutely. The Kolubai coming to town and their uncle going to town, tradition in Lofa County holds, and yes.
So it seems to be like every, you know, if you don't know about other county, you think say everything there bread, butter, peanut butter, and jelly. But that's not the case. What I'm hearing here now, it seems to be there's a big political divide as well because the entering the C4 to be their stronghold. I don't know how many votes. Our guy is there. It's too late because we try to get in touch with him. But actually, the Lofa is really the momentum is there. So let's create this. George Weah stay elevating here. He didn't go there. Vice President at his own backyard. His presence more or less is compulsory because that his own life on the line. Who is at risk in this whole thing as we speak right now? Who has a lot to lose when this whole thing turns around? Let me start with you, George.
Ambassador, the Unity Party, they have more. They are risk. If they lose, it will be a big problem for them. As our sister said,
what could be the identity of that problem, perhaps, if you want to tell us?
First thing, the narrative will change that Joseph Boakai, he can have no more boast of Lofa as his home, as that he can sleep and say, "Hey, election tomorrow, Lofa County is in my column, in my basket." That narrative will change. But as I said, if he win, then if we just reinforce that he's the guy, the godfather of Lofa County. But I said it. Just what the brother said. I said on the show before. I said, I know Councilor Jara very well. We came from a long way from the Liberian Action Party when they banned the party, so I know him very well. But I said, if he loses the election, it will be his fault. A line, Tamafala, Jefferson go to Finabondo, to be like his face of his campaign. I said before the other day, I said that one of the biggest mistakes he made. If they wanted to gain any kind of support, they should have been in the background. But to come to be the face of his campaign is very problematic for him, because what the CDC, what the people of Lofa think of the CDC, that they did deny and deprive them of a seat of the sun, regardless of whatever happened. But that is the feeling of the people, that this government deprive or deny our son. So anybody that tend to associate with that government from that country to run, you got an uphill battle to climb. They may not tell you in your face, but in the back, they got it. And as he was saying, you got one district, which is the Perez-speaking district, I think, Saraye, which is the Perez-speaking district. Those people will most likely identify with the Loma. They will most identify, because they will say uncle and nephew. They were more traditional to identify with the Loma, even though all the group got something in common, the Bani, the Gisi, the Loma, but the Pele will go more closer to the Loma than the Gisi.
All right.
So, and the campaign you're seeing, I'm not seeing it in no other district. It's Foya where they're focusing on. And Foya is a small district. So what I'm not seeing in those other areas, to go, you have the Madingo. Okay, the Madingo most likely will lean towards the Bani, most likely. But they are not in those areas. It's Foya they are made Foya the focus. And all the late development that they're doing is concentrated in Foya. Yes, it's concentrated in Foya.
Let me bring in my Lofian's brother here. This is going to be quite interesting. Sister, you kind of forecast my thought process when you said George Weah didn't go there. That was a political move on the part of CDC to say, you know what, it's too soon to be humiliated. He going there, there's uncertainty there. Boyka going to be going there. Coluba started crying already. It's on Scar. They say, I'm going there. And when I get there, those people will run. When they see me, they will run. And we saw how he enters the place here. Now, who cholesterol, blood pressure, and everything is rising above the roof? Is the president monitoring? Do you think President Weah is monitoring? I don't know. And you make a very salient point, because Moloba Molu, I'm not saying even the effectiveness of he still being chairman of the party after saying all those ridiculous things he said about the president. And then I listened recently, the president said, well, he's doing a great job, that politicians always speak in a specific tone. But do you think there's neverness within the CDC? They will say, well, we didn't win it around. We know it's Joseph Boyka land, so it's nothing much. But he has a lot of big names in his government. So they must be able to some extent to deliver. And I also began to wonder now, like you said, if they can deliver to places that they reside as their first home, and then they just go into seek temporary shelter, not going back home because of this sort of season. Who this neverness heartbeat is really pumping right now? Is the president worried about Lofa, or is just like you tell them when you win, just a trial error matter?
Well, here's the thing. I want to really believe the president has smart people around him. And so because I want to believe that, I believe that the president is not losing sleep over Lofa County, because those smart people would have told him to write off Lofa County. But the problem is, you don't go into a football game, you know you're going to lose 20-0 and say, okay, we're done, without even the referee blowing the whistle, even though you know you're going to lose, right? So I think the president is sleeping sound tonight, because he knows that they've already written off Lofa County, because the CDC has a war room, and I know those people in there are smart people. They must have told the president, and that's the reason you don't have a high-power force like McGill, who is from Bapulu, that used to be part of Lofa County, is not in Lofa. Right?
So, why he didn't go?
So that's the point. Because when McGill goes, now you are giving the president fresh inner circle out there, and they don't want to risk the risks there. Because if you think about it, the most recent electoral history in Liberia, almost 80% of the people that George Weah raised their hands to run for the House of Representatives or the Senate have lost. So now, as a political institution, the CDC is doing the right thing. You have to require. and sit back and watch, because you don't want to keep on a losing streak. And so the CDC is not going to lose sleep over this. At least if I believe that, the way I believe that they have smart people in there, they're not going to lose sleep. That's why they send the like of Tambakoji over there, and the likes of Moba Molu and the likes of Findabondo, that they don't can move anything. So they're just going to be in foyer and have a low, soiree, have a low party, and they move out. Right, but here is who is going to be having a cholesterol bowel movement. That's going to be Councillor Jala, because Councillor Jala should have had no reason for this race to be closed at all, and zero reason for this race to be closed. The reason somebody like me is coming out against Councillor Jala is because when I look at his flyer, I saw the faces of Koji and everybody else who are strangers in Lofa County, who have never stood out to articulate for the rights of Lofians, even though
they are born Lofians.
Even though there are a lot of Lofians in the George Weah government. And I have to say that for a fact. There are a lot of Lofians in the George Weah government. But how many of them have stood up to advocate and articulate for the point and the plight of the people in Lofa County? None, a lot of them. And so that is the reason you have the likes of Joseph Tamakoji being sent over there. So there's nothing going to happen over there. But Councillor Jala is going to be the one right now having the stomach churning, because this thing was his to lose, and he has just taken a defeat out of the mouth of victory. And so I believe that the other loser in this situation is going to be the coalition, the entire apparatus of not the coalition, but the opposition. Right, so I have the ANC impression of Yake Koluba over there, and then you have LP impression of Darius DeLong over there. I even saw Jonathan Borchardt.
Borchardt too is there.
Right, so you have all of those people over there, and then you have our uncle from the Unity Party who is also over there. If they don't win, that becomes a big problem. And if they don't win, even if the CDC wins, you know who becomes the ultimate winner in this? If Galakba Kotima doesn't win, it's going to be Representative Mariama Fofana. The former CDC, the former Unity Party representative who dropped the Unity Party stuff in order to contest this election. She switched party to contest this election. So Kwadu Bone district, like my bigger brother was talking about here, for the Mandingo people, Kwadu Bone is already out. Right? And so if you're taking the CDC, you are focused on Foya. Kwadu Bone, you're gone. Salaya district, the Peda speaking district, you're gone. Sosa district and Vonyama district, you're gone. Kolahun district, you're not even competitive in there, right? So then where are you going to win? So if we have a wild horse that come in this, right, and wins this election, and it's not Galakba Kotimai, I think the biggest person that gets validated in Lofa County that we're overlooking is going to be Representative Mariama Fofana, because then she would have been vindicated for having left the Unity Party to go seek greener pasture.
So, before you come in here, what is happening here is there another consolidation on the part of the opposition here? All of them getting out there, where they bury this so-called conspiracy to innuendo, subliminal messages that will factor in that destroy the entire thing. With Ambassador Boyka, for discussion purposes, let's say we're going to give it to CDC, not CDC, to Unity Party because of a home advantage, whatever it is. That's not what we are saying now that they're going to win. Will Ambassador Boyka capitalize on that, Darius DeLong, to settle the political dust in the bait to go ahead with the 2023, or they are just leaving there? And Jala, I listened to him the other day on Freedom, which is about big mouthpiece here, and he incited some sort of tribal politics into this here. I don't know where he came from. I don't know what is a sort of agreement there. He said that's the Bandi people side. They have never had anything in government. They have not had any position. So that's the Bandi people side. If it doesn't work that way, that would be problem. I don't know the basis of his argument and how many Lofians are paying attention to that. Is there any sort of political arrangement, Pajoy, before you come here? I want to know. He's from there. He knows there. Is there any political arrangement? Is that a rotational stuff in Lofa there? Loma people say, Kisi people say, that Bandi people turn. Then the next time will be the Mandingos or the Pele.
Well, no, there's not been a spoken political machination that says, fresh this trap and this trap and this trap. But what has been an undercurrent in Lofa County is that for quite too long, and my older brother alluded to that the Loma people, I'm a Loma man, have been in political power for a long time. And actually, if you go back to the founding of Lofa County, that is the reason we moved our capital to Vonjama. Because the Kisima Loma, the Zosa district, and all those people have been in political power for a long time. Our first representatives that actually represented Lofa County was from the Kisima Loma, the Zosa district area. And so, in order to split political power and feel magnanimous, we had to move the capital out of Zosa to Vonjama, to closer to the other tribes. And so, Lofa County happens to be the county that is the most diverse in Liberia. We have the most tribes in one county. And so that is the reason why our traditions are very strong and we hold on to our traditions. That's why even with all of that stuff that Councillor Jala said, if he sees Joseph Boakai, he's going to call him uncle, right? Because that tradition is so strong. So whatever he said is not going to carry any weight. Because at the end of the day, right, I will tell you for free, Mr. Soe, that I can be in bitter disagreement with somebody. And the minute I start to speak and that person is kissy, and they say, nephew, you need to know how you're talking to your uncle. Immediately, I have to change the way I express my dissatisfaction because it's culture. And so that is the one thing that is going to beat Councillor Jala. Because whatever he says, it's not going to carry weight. It is not going to carry any weight whatsoever. The other part of this thing, though, is that if you're talking about just the Bandi people and you make this thing tribal, if we start looking at the largest tribes in Lofa County, the Bandis are not even as many as the Kisi people.
No.
Right? So you can't even make that a tribal argument. And so for him to say that was kind of, I think it was
so that argument part we can just try.
It was still but I still believe that I would still say this. I don't think the force you see against Councillor Jala is because of Councillor Jala. I think people are doing your enemy, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. And I think they're saying the fact that the CDC show face in Lofa County, that is why you got all of these people going behind the Unity Party. So to answer your question about whether the old man Boakai can be able to use this and coalesce back the opposition, that's the reason. Because I think right now, people are coming together, they're holding their doses, and they're saying, you know what? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So for now, we'll all coalesce around this Unity Party guy. But thereafter, we're back into our fighting camps. That is why I can tell you that I'm not a fan of Unity Party, that I'm not supporting Joseph Boakai in the election, that I'm supporting Tewan Gonglo, but I've sent money to Lofa County, and I've been sending out messages to Lofa County to vote for Galakba Kotimai.
That's what you've been doing?
That's what I've been doing. Yep.
And that's a message you're still sending up to this point in time.
Still sending messages up to right now. Still talking to my people in Lofa County, all over Zosa district and Salaye district to vote for Galakba Kotimai.
Demon Joy.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say, because the travel thing, Councillor Jala, I think I would just slip a tongue. You can't go down a route because you are the smaller, I also maybe the smaller group tribe.
Are you seeking political empathy? So that, okay, and the group will say, yeah, these people, you know, they get away that people kind of like grabs or get. These people, they never even get a thing. They never taste the thing. You left feel sorry for them. Is that, wow, why you were doing that?
I said that was a slip of tongue because you not tell the Loma man that stuff. You not tell the Parliament that stuff. You not tell the Mandingo that stuff because they would say, okay, what's about us? Okay, they will say, hey, we're larger than you. That is your tribe. So what's about us? Should we raise the same issue? No. So I think Councillor Jala, that was a slip of tongue. And the issue of all about Joseph Boakai looking at whether he will go back to the CBP, no. And my brother said it rightly. The reason that you see Boss that Chigbe, Delon, Yeke Kolba there, is because what the CDC has done to Jala. The mere fact that Thomas Fala, Jefferson Kochi, Fina Bono, Moba Moro, showing faces in Lofa, then that's the reason you see all these guys now going to Lofa. The Yeke Kolba, who is from Lofa, Delon, he's not from Lofa, but he had name recognition. Bocha has name recognition. That is why you see the guy polling there. So it's like a competition now to see who will win that battle. The Jefferson, that is the Councilor Jara win of the CDC and that of the opposition. That's why you see the guy. If these guys would not going, you are not seeing the kind of force. But now is to test the power, the strength of this group. That is why you see the running in there to show, to tell CDC, hey.
So the link here, let's make it proportionate. The link is out there. Whether you've been our contributor, but for some reason you've been away. If you are a sedition and you also want to give the seditions CDC version, I have Amos Joyce here, who is a strong fanatic of ANC. I have Mr. Sese here, who is a strong supporter of Councilor Tiawan Gonglo. A CDC person can come, a Unity Party person can come, but we can also have this conversation. The link is there. Just copy and paste, and we can have here. Go ahead, Amos Joyce.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here, what I'm seeing is that CDC, they don't trust themselves. The party don't know where they stand today. Because if CDC, as they claim, grassroots support, they would have put a candidate in Lofa. But I saw in the war room, they did some research and said, no, if we try, it would be badly defeated.
Was that a good strategy?
It's not a good strategy, first thing, because yes, the thing here. One, yes, because you know why? The good side for them, they don't want to have this continued defeat in row. The last election.
That will create a dent for 2023.
The last election, they were defeated in Kidmore. They were defeated in Kidman. They were defeated in Mosorado. They were defeated in Grand Cru. So you see, they don't want to come back again to go into this by-election again to be wet in it. Then they'll put more dent in the character. So what they did was, okay, you know what happened? We'll withdraw. We're not putting anybody in Lufa, but if San Jalasa is going as an independent, then we'll throw our weight behind it. Maybe he don't have the finances. We'll throw our weight behind it. So when he wins, then of course he can vote with us. He can sit with us in caucus. So, and that has been the strategy. But I think that strategy will backfire. And I continue to say, as we see on the platform.
Well, let's pick their political minds here. Sese Joy, do you think in the injury and strapitance of this consequential election, we could potentially shift the entire 2023? We don't know yet. Do you think any of the big guns, or it could be Magay, the president could show all last minute to turn? Can any of them take that political risk?
No.
Change the narrative. Would that be a good thing?
No, here's the thing here. I continue to say this thing here. These people got nothing to account for in many of the counties. They got no tangible to point to say something.
Okay, hold on. Let me hold you right there. You've been crying this baby cry here for quite a long time here. Let me bring in Sese. I don't know whether he's going to be in solidarity with you.
No, but let me just my thought right there. Let me just he can come in. In Lofa, what is in Lofa that the people can say the 5-year George, this is what we have received?
Are you saying nothing at all?
The road is on the road project is that's the only thing I can talk about, the road that they're building into Lofa. In terms of development, central development for the county, in that county, what else they can show you beside that road project? What else can they show you? The same thing comes to Bon County, which is my home county. What can the second vice president and the WLF government point to in Bon County? On this Nathaniel Market can point to in Bon County that this is what we have done for this county in terms of development. What can they show?
Okay, let me guess Sese point here. Amos George has been saying this here consistently. He's been very consistent that there is nothing concrete. Maybe all this GOL been doing is abstract, nothing tangible they can reference. So Lothians, they're going to give them the big political payback. Do you buy into his soundbite?
Well, you know, I keep saying George Weah is down about it, but the CDC made him an issue in this election, so I think it's fair to discuss him. And so having said that, you know, I'm not going to put the roads on CDC because the roads have not been fixed in forever. So that is not the CDC's problem.
No,
which of course, just if we are talking about road, then Joseph Boakai should be brought into this whole thing.
So, well, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Even before Joseph Boakai, right? Way before when LOFA got, according to them, established in the 1960s, you know, the roads have been there with. So I can tie that albatross around George Weah's neck. But what I can tie around George Weah's neck is that because of and this is our perception, I'm a Lofian, I'm going to say that, because of his colossal loss in Lofa County, he chose to pay back in budgetary allotment. And I said this from the beginning, Mr. Soe, that the Lofa Community College, the one college in Lofa County, the one college in Lofa County, the community college, lost funding under this government. And because of that, other organizations had to step up to try to fund the community college, right? And the last time we saw any modicum of development happening from somebody in authority in the CDC in Lofa County was the last election. The last election, we saw Thomas Farah, you know, unveiling his homes he had built in Foya. When those elections were over, that was it. He didn't go back to tell us what's happening to those homes, who he gave those homes to, are those homes for poor people, nothing. When there is another election, he's back again, right? And where does he run to? Foya. Foya is now Lofa County, right? There are many other districts in Lofa County beyond Foya. And I guarantee you, Mr. Soe, even if these elections were here in Foya, even if they're only here in Foya, I will guarantee you that whoever hands that the ambassador races in Foya will defeat Thomas Farah and everybody else in Foya any given day because of Lofa tradition. What I will hold this government accountable for is the perception that they became vindictive against the people of Lofa, and since Lofa voted overwhelmingly for Joseph Boakai in the last election. And we still believe that it is that vindictiveness that carried over to the saga of Granny Samukai. And so Lofians, being people of history, being people of culture, are going to pay back. And unfortunately, Councillor Jala becomes that.
Is it being Jala here? Is it being used, not to interrupt here, is Jala being used as a sacrificial lamb by the CDC? Yep. Or was it a good political move for CDC? Okay, you know what, let's just throw their own son here. Let's create some political havoc into a here. And he's been contesting over and over and over. I'm not sure whether this is going to be the Waterloo of contesting in this place here. I don't see the rationale.
This is number 4 for him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not second.
But I will not fourth. You see, that's the reason I said from the beginning, Mr. Soe, right? If you look at politics and you look at how the numbers of the electorate works, having run a few times, actually it's a positive for the councillor because that's giving him name recognition. He's been about a few times. People have seen his face. They're kind of accustomed to that. There's a whole lot of research on electioneering that talks about that. That is the reason in America you have people that will put up long signs, right? You want people to see that name, to remember that name when they get in the booth, and even if they don't know you, they say, "Oh, I saw that name," and they vote for you. So that is not a bad thing for the councillor. And I thought this was going to be his best chance by far ever. But he's become a collateral damage, a collateral casualty in this fight between the people and their perceived wrong that's been done to them by the CDC, even though the CDC is not outrightly fielding a candidate. And I think that is a right political strategy by the CDC to not have field a candidate, because going into 2023, you don't want people remembering the last election you lost, right? So they want people to forget the last election they lost, which is a good political strategy. But unfortunately, Councillor Jala, I think, made himself the sacrificial lamb for that, and he's going to lose. And again, like I said, he took defeat from the joy of victory, because this election was his to lose. But the fact of their political intermarriage with Koji and Fala and Findabondo, who got no political authority whatsoever in Lofa County in terms of vote, is going to cost him a lot.
Gentlemen, let's take a quick break as the politics in Liberia is being shifted to Lofa as a new front line. I am Alphonso Zean Soe. We will be right back right after this commercial.
From the West African nation of Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia Public Radio and Television present Business Diary, This program focuses on the activities of business institutions and individuals in society.
I'm Jeremiah Soe Senior, CEO of All Nation Bank. It has been very good to have this business established here. We are 1 year since we opened here in Anono. There have been few challenges here that have faced in this country, and that is all about the land.
Okay, folks, Alphonso Zean Soe of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv today here. For those of you monitoring wherever you are, we say good morning, good evening, and welcome. It's all about Liberia. And we are a little bit concerned, try to get ahead of our shadow here. The politics of Liberia, leaving the nation's capital, Monrovia, to Foya, to Zozo, to Kolahon, and to Vanyama. And let's see what's going to happen. All the big political guns in the politics of Liberia, they are all converged on that city and see what's going to happen. Who is who and who's going to be hurt? Is just a bright pressure going up, or is he relaxed? CDC also is into the year. So, gentlemen, welcome here. Let's continue to have this conversation. There's some sort of correlations in this whole thing here. Boyka is in Lofa County there. Do you guys drink palm one there? I'm not hearing you.
Oh yeah, yep. Palm one.
You're drinking palm one. Alexander Benedict Cummins, we are hearing from folks telling us in the next hour or two he will be touching down and you're going to be hitting champagne doing a fundraiser.
That is not fair to Peter if the Peter was candidate though.
where he can debunk or whatever. He's coming, and anyway he's going to be touching down here. So I'm not making.
It's not bad.
That's elitism though. You show them that.
And the reasons, can we say they had a planned program here, or can we also slam him? I'm still been hearing from him. He's still determined to keep the collaboration in place. I don't know how the hell that thing can be in place. Boyka on the other side, Benana Ure on the other side. I'm not sure whether Benana Ure is a happy man with what is happening. Nyombi Kangat, a lot of things factoring in here. He's coming. Why Benana Ure Kangat? Why all of them didn't go to Lofa? Lofa, that's a new opening. Why all of them didn't go? Is Benana your man? Benana Ure, is he there? Emma Joy.
I don't know, but maybe his daughter, maybe going to get the daughter. I think the daughter is some kind of chairman on the Barca fundraising something. Some mobilization chairman.
Yeah, some kind of.
So maybe she might be going out there. I don't know. But they are all in there together. Joseph Barca and Benana Ure, that's his son. So, hey.
Okay. At the Kennedys. Yeah, look, that in there. They are what? 6%.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to sound here.
And this thing, one thing will not factor in. There may be a run-up.
The sister is not agreeing with you. Where you come from with run-up business?
Look at the number of people.
We don't have money already for election. Why are you talking about run-up to come go finish and start doing different things again?
No, Mr. So, 6%, I think a 6% raise.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let's bring in the Lofians here. Who was more okra with the Lofa politics here? Among those candidates here, is there any spoiler there?
But first thing, look, elections in Liberia are about plurality, not by 50+1. So we can't have one. Say somebody wins with 20%, they win. We're done. It's not the presidency. So but beyond that though, the one spoiler I see in this case is Councillor, and not Councillor, but Professor Kupi, Sumo Kupi. He was once the senator for Lofa County. He lost, and now he sat some time, and now he's back running again. So you can never underestimate the power of somebody who's won elections before. Even if people become disenchanted with them, they still have a core group. You're not a politician if you don't have people that are core to you, that believes in you, however way you flip or dice or whatever.
What want they try? What want they do? He come from?
Smokupi is a man. He's my uncle, actually. He is my uncle. He's from the same town. But I'm not supporting him. And I got reasons for that.
Yeah.
Why are you now with your uncles? You jump way to Tiawan to Gonglo, leaving your uncle.
So
I think your citizenship will be revoked in Lofa. Don't be.
The next time I get a Lofa, we'll go get a cow, we'll get a chicken, we'll get a cola. But for now, it's about Liberia. We'll fix that one on the traditional side. But Kupi is my uncle. And I didn't support him the first time he ran. I'm not a fan of his 9 years in office. I don't think he did Lofa County any good. And so I think trying to come back is, him just, in Liberia, we've had people who found that politics is their only way out. And they have not found way to exist outside of politics, financially. And I think, sadly, my uncle happens to be one of those people by the fact that he's running in this election. But Kupi, don't sleep on Kupi. Kupi could be a spoiler. Just like I said, Representative Mariama Fofana could be a spoiler because she has coalesced Kwadung Bonde and a few other towns around Kwadung Bonde. The Mandingo people are also our elder as Loma people. So it would not be difficult to find a Loma person voting for a Mandingo person. We don't have that tribal split in Lofa County, right? So we all believe that even the Lofians came directly because of the Mandingo people. And so don't underestimate the power of Mariama Fofana to be a spoiler. But having said all of that, I strongly believe that Lofa tradition, Lofa culture will hold. And I think Joseph Boakai is going to sleep tonight very well. He's going to drink his palm wine. Let's make sure there are no bugs in it. They can blow it.
Will we come back here? Will Sese come back here if the story, the dynamics and the unexpected unfold in Lofa? Will we come back here and have a blame game conversation?
No. Look, Mr. Soe, let me tell you. Here is the thing here. The camping that is going on in Lofa, maybe I might be wrong, but I have not seen Councilor Jala or the lady in those other districts. Maybe if they're doing that, maybe the camera not following them. I'm not seeing them concentrating in those other districts. The Gisi, the Bani, the Loma, the Pere, I'm not seeing people camping there. Maybe they're doing that, maybe the camera is not following them. So that is the problem. For that lady, I would not consider she will not be able to make it. She won't make it. I can tell you straight, she will not make it. The people that she's going against, they have a stronger name recognition than her. And knowing some tradition, if it were her and maybe other women running, then I could say, okay. But going against those men for her to break through for that position in that country right now, I find it difficult. Maybe Sister must, maybe he might disagree with me, but I find it very difficult.
No, I'm not saying that she has a clear chance. I'm saying she could be a spoiler. She could
take So for her, for me, the race is between two persons for me. The United Party candidate, Councilor Jala, then the third would be I think the former senator or superintendent.
Yeah, former Senator Kupi.
Yeah, former Kupi. Those are the three people that are saying that the race will be among them.
But there's another guy in Lofa County that is the new ATM of Lofa County. He's competing with Thomas Fala for spreading money around. It's Momo Saras. But he's just ditching money out
But then the people are saying right now, what the people are saying.
Sarah's name was in the fries. They are being the picture, but out of the sudden, I don't know how come, whether he has gone downhill, what is the situation?
Joseph Boakai, they expected Joseph Boakai, I think, to carry him. I think there was something that it was between two of them. But then they said this guy, I think he related to Honorable Boakai, that from the Unity Party, and he picked his, I think, nephew or cousin to run in Lofa. But what I get in now, and these are some of the things I'm saying, the people are saying, hey, they bring the money, we eat it. Mm-hmm. That one not coming out of the people's mouth. Mm-hmm. And you remember Thomas Fala in Maserado? When they were calling ATM machine, when I cried was behind him, and the people were, it was a big weapon for them in Maserado. So the same thing will play in Lofa again, they will take the money. But when the people go, they say, don't mind
this Samuka syndrome, or right? Are we going to see it last go to 2023 well lower that it will hurt CDC potentially?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Soe, I'm telling you, loafer.
Is there any way it can be fixed, gentlemen?
No.
It's spoiled for good? What is
what I'm seeing?
Is it spoiled, destroyed?
No, listen. What I'm seeing, except a different government come, but now with anything that we are let government stamp on in loafer, they will have.
Hold your peace. You come from Bon County. You also have your issue.
They are our uncles. So I agree with what my fellow uncle saying. But in Lofa County, Brownie Samukai is an uncle.
Yeah.
J. Brownie Samukai is an uncle.
Of course.
That is not going to be forgiven so easily.
That's what I'm saying.
And the problem I have with the Lofians that are in the WIA government is that for some reason either they're not smart or they're just burying their head in the sand, because they should be able to advise the president, Dr. Weir, on how to go about reconciling himself with Lofa County. But they're not doing that for the president. This thing, I'll guarantee you, Mr. Soe, even if Joseph Walker is not on the ballot, George Weah will not carry Lofa County because of this Brownie Samukai situation.
But that's what
okay, then let's see here. Let's give it a proportional conversation here. Did Samukai, did he do wrong?
Yes.
I mean, we have because his name is coming into here.
There's something wrong.
Yeah. Okay. George, answer yes. Let me ask you, your Lofa brother, did he do wrong?
Well, yeah. But the procedure is the problem.
That's
the procedure is the problem.
Was the procedure was it tampered with?
That's the point. Because now you're looking at let's look at recent history. If you listen to what Brownie Samukai said, he said the president of the republic told him to shift their money, to move the money. You saw that the finance minister recently went to the house and told the house that he moved the Senate and said he moved money around the Diokovo. Brownie Samukai tired, and he was let go. He was not held accountable for anything. He was let go. He did the exact same thing, except with the road funds that Brownie Samukai did with the military money. The problem was that if the CDC government knew that they did not want Brownie Samukai, that Brownie Samukai should have gone to court, should have been held, and should have been disqualified. They should have done that before the elections. But they thought that their candidate could win in Lofa County. That was the gamble they played. And they thought that Brownie Samukai was going to be a non-entity. It was not going to be a factor in the elections. And so when their calculus proved wrong, then they came back to eat their cake and have it too. And that is where things went wrong. And let me tell you the last piece. When in Lofa County, the masquerades, like the Nigerians call it, but I call it our elders. When they come out, and our new age people who don't know culture call them the devil. When they come out, that means we are here. Come and speak to the elders. When they came out and said nobody will go to Lofa County, Lofians are now known to be violent people. They were saying that as a way of saying, we are reaching out. Let's sit down and have a discussion. For people to have snubbed that, it's going to affect whoever the CDC raises in Lofa County. They're going to have that stink on them, and Lofians are going to rise against them every time. Can't hear you, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I was not hearing you. Mr. Soe, we can't hear you. Mr. Soe.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make you see. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart and so unity began. Love is all we need to make.
Okay, I thought, all right. Are you guys hearing me now?
Yeah.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Okay, I thought maybe one of the Kennedys infiltrated my system to come here. So what I'm hearing from you, sister, is it looks like the people of Lofa, they were speaking in specific tone, code, language, where they wanted some sort of conversation in a sort of esoteric tone. And it was just shoved down in your throat. That did not happen. Is that the understanding of the people of Lofa that had a CA?
Because when they remember, do you remember when the Country Devils came out?
Yeah, it took the ballot.
And Lofa bridge was closed between Bond County and Lofa County.
Yeah.
The last time that all of those Country Devils came out together was the last time there was a crisis in Banga before the war, if my uncle here remember. When the Lofians came to Banga to defend the Pele people when there was a crisis going on. So when it never happens easily in our culture for all of those to come together at once. And so when it came out that way, the chief Zoes came out and spoke. That was a way traditional of asking for, let's sit and have a conversation. We have a stake in this. We have a say in this. We want you to hear us. And there were people making fun of that and saying they will send the AFL, they will send the police, the country that will run away from gunshot. They made fun of that. And the people let the road open up. I will tell you one thing, Alphonso.
Why the children of Lofa, the daughters of Lofa that are within the proximity of the president, why they didn't grab that sense and give it a second thought to say, hey, these people,
they're born in Lofa, do they know the culture? That's the point I keep telling you, Alphonso. Just because you're named Tambakoji and you were born in Plonko, you don't know the culture. Just thinking about the Lofa does not guarantee anything. And again, I told you in the beginning that these left hands of the president or right hands, if they have, leprosy on them, they're not functional. And apparently the men peg their hands on the leprosy. And so that is the problem that is happening with the government. The president, with all due respect to him, is not having the right people who are well versed in the culture to advise him about the culture. When in Lofa County, I'll tell you one thing, and then I will land and let my uncle speak. When you do something in Lofa County and Lofians tell you they're angry, they're yelling, they're talking, it's not a big deal. It is really not a big deal. But when you do something, they say, oh, let him go. Y'all leave it, let him go. It means that it's very, very serious. And what they did with that road situation, when the people open the road and say, okay, let the people go, it was the Lofians were saying, oh, they want to hear us? Okay, fine, it's okay. We'll wait for them. They will need us. And now is when they need us.
Emma Josh.
Yeah, I mean,
are you willing to run a rescue mission?
No, I mean, look, I told you, for CDC to win Lofa, just presidential election, maybe they might win some representative, but presidential election, take it up. Because for district, someone can be CDC for the district and they can win that district because of being that they are representing that district and they are son of that district, so they can win it. Not because CDC, but because of the person from that district. So they can win that. But presidential election, take it up. And every time I told you, tell me Bond County, it's the same thing I'm telling you. This coming election, for George to win Bond County, be very difficult. Because he himself, the same thing my brother, my son said, he got personal vendetta against people maybe in the northwest of Liberia. During the campaign, during the county tour, he went and made some statement that if they don't win, they will see what they will do to the people in Bond County. He on tape. And when you make this kind of statement to a county, and you think the people are not taking those things into account, the vice president, she went and told the people, if you don't join CDC, we'll fire you. We'll fire you people. And she acted upon, she fired people from Sunday district where she come from. She fired Kind, one of the permanent citizens in that district, the Kind. She fired, he was primary, she fired him. You think, we talk to some people from Bond County, you think the people, what they think about, you think is joy, they're waiting. That's why I told him, so someone will be in Liberia. Joy, we will not win Bond County this time.
Why are you going to do that?
I'm a better man. My brother talk about it. When I think that story you are telling, it was in the 80s. And what happened was, the Madingo people, they married the Pele people, but when time came, they said the Pele people should not marry their daughters. They call them Catholic. So that tension, it brought tension in Bon County.
Oh, they can get a Pele daughter, but Pele daughter can get Madingo.
Yes, they say yes.
Are you serious?
Yes, that what brought tension that time in Madingo in Bon County, in Banga. President Doe had to send delegate to Banga to settle that dispute. The people came from Lofa because it's the cultural ties. So when I tell you, I can try in the part of Bonga in the name so because I understand the language. If any man approach me, I know how to answer. Okay, I can tell you that walk. And someone I can be somebody broad day like we look at one another. I will say Mr. So they will know that Mr. So is not a member of that society.
So okay, as we're running out of time here.
All these things mix.
And will the CDC distance herself if Councilor Jala, because I'm not sure whether he's a sedition or whatever he is now, or he been switch party, all of those things for the helping. Would that CDC say, well, he's not one of us. We just learning support. So is that how they want to? Will he be kind of outcast at the end of the day if he doesn't win, or will there be some sort of a commendation?
He will be an outcast. They will say he's our brother, he's our friend. He was independent. We just wanted to lend his support. And I saw Councilor Jala on one of the radio stations. He was saying that hey, he will be there to walk. He will walk across the aisle if he do win with anybody. One is the positive thing for the county or for the country. He will be willing to work with anybody.
So I don't understand why, and I think Sister Trato, he got to that point, maybe to go back here. So why with all of these people here, and that's a good valid point, because if we have all of those people that are from in that area, why they could not put fee a Kennedy? Or is it that, you know what, the time is too closer, we don't want to create a sort of political thing here, and then the opposition going to run with this here up to the point of the election. That is to say, if CDC as a party or coalition as a party to fee at Kennedy in this, because that's a very crucial, that's a very consequential one there. Samuka is not there again. They should have throw in somebody. That did not happen. But let's bring in different piece of talking point here, and maybe then we can wrap out. We saw the 17th anniversary. The vice president wasn't at that forum. Yelu Johnson there was initiated under the sycamore tree or within the vicinity of the sycamore tree with the red barrel. What we are hearing, we yet to authenticate this information. Yelu is aggressively pushing Representative Gweglo Johnson to what speed level, to what going to be the stopping point. What the pushing is all about, details yet to come in. But Gweglo is already being initiated to as a sedition. As long as that red barrel goes on your hair, that covenant is being built. It's a risk being taken here on the part of the ruling establishment.
So let me talk about the 17th anniversary first. I think we underestimated CDC. Well, yeah, which one of the CDC am I talking about? My point exactly. Because you have the Coalition for Democratic Change, and you have the Congress for Democratic Change. And I think they were ambiguous intentionally. And their ambiguity was to explain away their disrespect for their vice presidential candidate. Because you can say that, well, this is not the coalition, because the coalition is not 17 years old.
Right.
It is the Congress that's 17 years old. And the vice president comes from the National Patriotic Party. So she is not a member of the Congress of Democratic Change. Ergo, there was no reason for her to have been invited to a program for the Congress of Democratic Change. I think that is the hair they split on that, and they did that to be intentionally ambiguous. Now, having said,
why you think that they were the date?
Well, I think because it comes down to what my uncle was saying. They have not yet figured out, can Joe still deliver Bond County? Is this political marriage still going to hold? Because now you go to the 17th anniversary celebration, and you bring Joe and you put her to permanence. You elevate her on the dais, and she's sitting there. Who then do you bring to become vice president after you've already elevated her? So if you're still thinking behind the scene that this marriage, this MPP and Congress marriage might not hold, and you are thinking about separation and divorce, then you don't want to highlight the vice president no more, because their mind is not yet made up. And I think that was the reason they did that, because their mind is not yet made up, which I would do if I were in their case, because once you elevate her, you only having one celebration after their election. And you can't celebrate her and elevate her, put her on the dais, and then come back and say, "Oh,
it's difficult to explain when the time comes if you were to sideline her here." So, is that a good political calculation on the part of CDC, because there's still uncertainty? Because even at this, probably they will have tied in. This is why the coin is 17th anniversary. If it was something that they intend to solidify their political base in such a time, maybe they were brought in their other two friends, their two allies, and I believe the term of reference with this, it comes to an end October. So literally, Joy Howard Taylor now is on political life support with the CDC, and still they are still undecided as to where to go. Amos George.
Yeah.
What is the feelings? What is the feelings in Bond County as you are hearing? What is the future of Joy Howard Taylor in the next 2023? Is she still going to be the face? There are a lot of rough times too that went on with the CDC and the vice president. I was privileged in Liberia when I met her in an interview, and that was very unusual for such a high political profile, political office, and that the vice president says she was unwilling to talk politics. That speaks volume. And that was I have a lot of friends within the proximity of the vice president. We talk to a lot of people, and the conversation just proves the point for the sitting vice president occupying the second higher political office to say she doesn't want to talk on politics. What is the Bongese? How do you call you, right? Bongese?
Yeah, the Bongese. Yeah. You see?
You're still beyond the king table?
No. Well, maybe personally with her, yeah. But that was, I tend to disagree with my brother on that part a little bit. Because the coalition of change, they had Prince Johnson there. If they didn't have Prince Johnson, that would have been different. Prince Johnson was there. But they chose to leave the vice president out.
How do you know?
Well, did they call her name or say that she was invited?
Yeah, you said the level. Oh, I don't know what I yet to validate what that invitation was sent. But that's a good point. Prince Yeru were there dancing with a red barrel. Gwagwalo Johnson there, who we are hearing lengthy and high-profile conversation is going on, because like what Sisse is saying, for Lofa, CDC can't just really bank on Lofa now. Bond County, the ground is slippery. Yeah. So another vote-rich area there that is really needed to put you to the top is how do you call it? Is Nima County. So they are trying to move in that direction.
Yes, but here's the danger here. Moving in that direction, is the Prince Johnson still popular as before? Then you got a son, one of the sons is in the race. One Gongo for the presidency. So that's another question. But what the race here is now, how do you separate Joy Howard Taylor from the CDC-led organ? Because from the inception, the people of Bonkana, they have figured that Joy Howard Taylor had been sidelined. And you saw some of the interviews, she said that she was being insulted by government officials. The person had never said anything. So the people of Bonkana feel that she been disrespected. That's why with the problem.
Is that bad blood still in her, that memory? Is it still there? It's not wearing away?
But Mr. Toy is there. And you see that she's being sidelined. You see that she's being sidelined. Nobody have to tell you They are in a
Will
marriage.
she be happy even if she's not accommodated to this thing here? Is that something you think she's wishing for?
Come again, say what?
Do you think, is that something, and I want to get Sister take on it, if we were to do a political pick in her mind, is that something she's wishing for? Oh, you know what, I don't even want to go with this thing. I had enough in the last couple of years. I'm not seeing myself to go back into this thing. Let me just maybe live my private life, or, you know, focus on my foundation. Is that something you think she's wishing?
No, let me see. Joy Howard Taylor came into this marriage, political marriage, with a clear mind, thinking that she and George Weah were going to run the country together. Maybe like how you see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That was her thinking. But that she didn't know that they had different plans for themselves. Because I listened to some of her interview. She talked about how she thought this government was going to go to implement the policy that they talk about. But she said that those things not happening. And she talked about her dissatisfaction, how she's been disrespected by people, ministers. So to tell you, from the outset, she thought it was going to be a very smooth ride, good wedding, good married living. No, it had turned out to be the opposite. The only thing is that she don't want to leave to say, I'm quitting. Then they will say, oh, we didn't. So now the rope is around CDC, George Weah.
We got me again.
Okay,
But
go
you
ahead.
break that marriage, then it will worsen the pride in Bomb County, because it will say, hey, after 8 to our daughter, you went and dashed her. Now you're coming back to also ask for our vote. Something got to be wrong with you. That is the dilemma now the CDC is fighting, rattling now. How can they separation go with the current vice president to go to take anybody from Neymar or Edwin Snow from Bummy or whoever? How can they go about that separation that will not cause damage to them? That is the biggest problem that they're having.
So, how does the CDC lose Bond County and still win re-election? Because the first thing is, they no longer own Maserati. And I keep telling people Maserati was never quite owned. Maserati historically has been the bedrock of opposition.
Yeah, that's true.
Oppositions have always won Maserati. When CDC was in opposition, they were winning Maserati. So Maserati has historically been the bedrock of opposition.
Yeah.
And for Darius DeLon to beat them back to back in Maserati, and for an Abu Kalon to is that Abu Kamara to have to fight, to there were bloodshed and everything to defeat a little known that the president, after making a pronouncement over his dead body, would Europe become anything in Liberia, had to go to resort to violence, his party, just to win a representative seat that was still contested. Do they still own Maserati? No. And so if you don't own Maserati, where the next vote-rich places you go, you're not going to own Lofa County, so that is out. And so in Nimba County, I can tell you for a fact that our calculations on the ground is that Tiawan Gonglo is going to have a seismic change in the political landscape in Nimba County. So Prince Johnson is no longer a kingmaker.
No.
The man not even a township maker anymore. So you bringing him, you can give him 50 barracks. Let him relive his old days and re-traumatize people wearing his barret and militarizing people who violated the sanctity of human decency in Liberia. That's a whole different thing. But Prince Johnson is not even a township maker anymore. So you lose, you can't win Nimba, you can't win Lofa, you can't win Maserati, and you lose Bond County, and you think you're a contender? Absolutely not. But let me go back to answer the question about Joa and her legacy. Some of these things have to be placed squarely at the feet of Joa. Joa is from my county originally. She's from Sosa District, like we all are. But what did she expect going into this political marriage? She and the NPP had not galvanized any political ideology that they had crystallized going into the marriage. So they went into the marriage fluid. The entire ideology was fluid. And so when they got in, the CDC bent it or however way they wanted it. You know, I believe Joe Howard Taylor went in with a clear conscience, but
Yes.
that would be wrong for a politician.
He's
Going
wrong.
in with a clear conscience is different than going in with a bendable political ideology, with a fluid
Agenda.
ideology. Because if you have not crystallized your thought and your ideology, then whatever marriage you get into, you lose yourself. And that's what happened. The NPP lost itself, lost its soul, lost its identity in this marriage. And that is why, if you remember, the NPP has been in crisis ever since. You remember there was a fight between who owns the NPP and who doesn't, and led to CDC candidate losing in Bon County senatorial election. All of those deep divides are still there.
What
And
is there was a big divide, yeah, of course.
Yes.
I think,
And that was a test. That was a test for CDC. They went. Yara went to CDC. Yara, the senator, the senator that Primo you beat, he was supported by CDC, and people told him the same thing. So this is a dilemma CDC find herself in. Who can they bring to deliver bomb Nima, Basa? Who can they bring?
do they run a risk? Do they run a political risk? Because the issue with they and Joel, they've been having those rough edges for quite a long while. If they decide finally and kick Joel out, is that a political risk? Are they taking a high risk at riding the plane without a pilot, no technicians, no tower to direct the wave and everything?
But here's the thing, though, and there is evidence of this. So we can't just speak out of the air, right? There is empirical evidence. The last senatorial election, when Joel Howard Taylor decided she was not going to endorse of the president, you saw what happened. Yeah. So Joel Howard Taylor has proven that when it comes to Bon County,
she owns Bon County.
Don't play with her.
Oh, hold on.
So you lose Joel Howard Taylor, you will put her for in Bon County?
Listen. She went endorsed.
What do I put her now?
She endorsed about Mervyn Cole. They voted against Mervyn Cole. She endorsed Mervyn Cole. They voted against Mervyn Cole. The prior is a judge will carry Joel Howard Taylor. Yeah, she will get some vote, but would that be enough to put them over the finish line in Bon County? No. If he don't carry her,
okay,
and make it worse. So what would they do now?
But the good thing is Liberal politics is not electoral college, right? So you don't have to win the whole county. And I will venture to say, and I stand to be corrected, that some of the reasons that the CDC even got some votes in Lofa County was because of Joel. Because her dad is from Zaza District, was a prominent politician in Zaza District. She grew up right there in Zaza, and so because of that, they might have gotten some sympathy votes out of Lofa County. You lose Joel, now you're taking away your low sympathy vote in Lofa County and your less sympathy vote in Bon County, and so that becomes a problem. And you talk about for example Grand Bassa. Is that even a calculation on the CDC to go to Grand Bassa? So what the CDC has to do is to really go back in their war room and change the calculus, because the fair calculation.
Let's take a little flashback before we go. I don't know whether sometimes they just sit down and I look at those sort of good memory those days. Let's look at this.
Power to the people, everybody men do evil. They say the people whack, in the spot. They get up, picking up, see that you can grab the king. Then they get away, everybody in your face. I cannot go with fucking CDC, now take it.
That was dance, and we don't know how you're gonna look now. They were all in their blue suits, waving. It was a beautiful. That was the country giant coming to town. Sleeping Papi gave way. I don't know whether we can still coin that word giant. The Crow Boys, I don't know whether they're going to have a remix. I don't want to go there. So, gentlemen, what a great conversation. Your man, Councillor Twawan Ganglo, is he aiming at the top, or is he want to be like a vice president? He said he doesn't want to, he will not go in there with corrupt people. I want to have the opportunity. Who are those people that are corrupt? Whether it is Joseph Boyka, whether it is Ellis Comey, but people who being assistants. So I don't know where he's in, but politicians are very crafted. They are very gifted. They are very innovative. He will come back tomorrow and say, and coin it in a different subject. Is he really want to be a president, or he wants to be a vice president?
So here's one thing we can agree on. Tewan Gonglo is not going to speak craftily. He's not going to come back and change what he says. He's running to be president. And what Tewan Gonglo has always said is that if the Liberian people decide that he becomes whatever, if that moves Liberia forward, if that guarantees the vision and the mission that he has for Liberia to move forward, he does not have to be the carrier of that. If, for example, my old uncle here, Mr. Amos, Josh, can carry out the vision that Tewan stands for, then Tewan doesn't have to be president. We just need Liberia to move forward. Having said that, Tewan Gonglo is in his race to become president. And when he talks about not being in bed with crooks and people who have defrauded the Liberian government, you see, you have to learn from other people's mistake. We're learning from Alexander Cummings' mistake. We do not want to get in bed with people and then say, we're just going to hold our nose. No. So we're going to make sure that, do we have to make, would you ever have political marriages? Absolutely. We've understood that in the most recent election, except for Charles Taylor landslide election, there hasn't been any election in recent history where anybody has won 50% plus one straight out. There's always been run out. And so you need to be able to ensure that you are looking at other politicians and other parties and see where your mission and your values and your vision for Liberia align. And where they align, you coordinate, you cooperate to move the nation forward. And so when he says that, we want to make sure that, and look, and again, like I said, all respect to Alexander Cummings, I think he started this thing very right when he said he didn't want to be in bed with people who are defrauded the government. But I want to give him the credit to say he was trying to be magnanimous and say, well, how can we build a bigger tent? And he opened his window. And you know, when you live in Fiamma, I'm a Fiamma joke again, Papa. When you're in Fiamma and the house is hot, you open your window, right, for cold air to come in, but you open the mosquito can inside too. So that what happened to Alexander Cummings? Open your window, mosquito can inside. And we're not going to open our windows that way.
Oh, God.
You know, I beg you. You from Wizie? I'm from Fiamma. I'm from Fiamma. You from Wizie? Nigabo? No, not from Nigabo. You from Wizie? Wizie that way back there, Kona Castle there, that way in our place there. But so,
okay.
So we should play football on Wizie Fee. Wizie was a Fiamma. That way we should play football. Wizie was a Fiamma.
It be like a reunion here taking place this evening. Okay, gentlemen, Amos Joy, Lord Cesar, it was a great having you. I just sent you a message and monitor your message later on after the program. But I think it was a great conversation. That's what we always try to do, and we will continue to do that, is to take this sort of conversation from the hands of the politicians, let Liberia themselves be the driving force about their country, because you guys, you're the politician. Right now, we're having conversation, but when Tewan Gonglo, when you become official spokesperson or maybe presidential, whatever, to Tewan, the conversation is different. No phone number. Your car windshields will all be tinted. Only the tires are going to be seen being rolling. So I'm not a good friendly guy with politicians. I want to thank you guys so much for the conversation here. But what is the take-home message here? Let me start with Sissy. Put it into context here. The Lofa scenario, 2023. Let's put all in a basket here. It's hard to make a prediction. George Weah, President Weah, is a popular figure. Is it enough? Is the opposition making enough argument to just say, well, people not taking pay, well, they not do this, yeah, the president not addressing the nation, this and that. I'm not sure. He never went to a debate. I'm not sure whether debate is even an issue to Liberian. There's sometimes made a man before even somebody announced his or herself of being a candidate in the meaning or two here. Put it into context here for you. What's your own, what you think you visualize for what is ahead of us?
So if Kalakpa Kotima wins in Lofa County, it will be like a Republican candidate winning in South Dakota. Yeah, there's nothing new, right? The Democrats don't campaign in South Dakota. Or like a Democrat winning in New York. Yeah, well, give me something new, right? So there will be no seismic change on that in the political landscape or in the political calculus. But if Kotima does not win, regardless of whoever else wins, now other political parties and other politicians, including me, will start smelling blood in the water, and we'll become political sharks, and we'll be going for Lofa County. What we see in Lofa County and what most politicians see is you got to have a base. The base of Joseph Nyuma Boakai is Lofa County. There is nothing that's going to change their political calculation. I don't think George Weah and the CDC think that they can add Lofa County to their column in 2023 or in whatever year, right? We all know that we're just going to go in and try to make a dent. We want to make sure he doesn't win all of the Lofa County 100%. So we got to make a dent, and that's what we got to do. But the bigger question here for the ruling establishment is that if you're so afraid to field candidates, what is their popularity? What percent? What are your internal? Because you have to have the internal data. What is that internal data telling them? What is the internal survey telling them that's making them so afraid to field candidates? Because you have a lot of Lofians that are in higher positions in the CDC government. You know, they could have done what Edwin Snow did. Edwin Snow left Mosorado and went to Bomi. Thomas Farah, if he was serious, could have left Mosorado and gone to Lofa to go run. And we would have known that they mean business. But there is an internal data that the CDC has that they're not making privy to the public, that is scaring them. And that's the reason they're not fielding candidates. And we just made that even scarier for them by bringing the likes of Tiawan Gonglo on the stage. And so for me, I see that there's going to be a new calculation, a new political dispensation. We are not going to allow people this time to change the narrative. CDC were very smart in the last election. They made it almost seem like criminal to be educated. So then they say, everybody, Bo, now Bo people are here for. So they criminalized education. So people were afraid to speak out and talk about what they know. We are no longer going to allow them to shift that narrative. We're going to hold their feet to the fire. And that's the reason some of us are on this platform talking. Because we want to make sure at the end of the day, when the Liberian people make a choice, that is an academic choice and not a choice just because you gave me a half bag of rice the day before.
Okay, Amos Joyce, your closing remark.
Yeah, look, as Sister said, if the United Party win, Lofa County is just reinforcing, because that is the base of Honorable Joseph Boakai. The entire election, that's the candidate he won overwhelmingly. So that would just be to reinforce the message that's my turn. You can't play around it.
Okay.
For the CDC, I don't see, because if Jara won the emperor as an independent. So if he wins, they might say, okay, yeah, we supported him, but they cannot claim that victory. They cannot claim it because it had been proven the going election. CDC did not win majority of the candidates that supported candidates, and even the one that George Weah went and held a hand up did not win. So I don't know.
All right.
What the dynamics would be if they do win, if Jara win. But if Joseph Boakai win, it's just like, hey, I'm coming home. I'm back home. I'm the captain of the tire. That's just it.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for such a fruitful and rewarding, resounding conversation. We're looking forward to having such again. And as the politics temporarily been shifted to Lofa to see whether they're going to change the narrative. We're going to have a different political conversation here. Gentlemen, is it? I want to thank you so much. I will be in touch with you as well. Amos George is our own senior contributor and political analyst right here, Library of Public Radio. Gentlemen, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. This is it.
Yeah. Okay, well, folks, I'm Alphonso Zean Soe. That's how we're going to draw the curtain down here this evening. I want to thank all of you for your time, your comments, your tweets. What we do, we facilitate hardcore conversation. Comments, tweets, and coming out of here, it's not the views of the Library of Public Radio, but we do facilitate these hard conversations. I want to thank you so much. Let's take this sound to get home.
Le parrain permanent, Herniandier, so maintenant de Wayman, mon papa, on se que la rock, de Wayman, de Wayman.
This song here is from neighboring Ivory Coast. You who talking, you get money. You want partake in election, you get money. If you don't get money, you can't participate. Your voice is more or less meaningless. Not just on the election, everywhere, anything. Money is the gateway. That's money. He calling that money, money, money. Money is the gateway. Money breaks barrier. To money create an opening. Money to make it add value to your human dignity.
Le très ancien Yves Calais, à Seigneur-Caï, le grand frère Oula Michael, allons seulement. Et la somme, la c'est maintenant, moi ça, on m'a pas
we're keeping close eyes on Lofa. We're going to see what's going to be happening in the next coming days, a week. We're going to be keeping close eyes to see what happened in Lofa County. It doesn't matter day, shine, snow, fall, winter, money, they always get. There are some people, naturally, they just get money. It doesn't matter what season it is. If this is the first time on the Liberia Public Radio, we say thank you for sharing your evening, to your morning, to your afternoon, depending where you are. Go to our Facebook page, like, follow us on YouTube. This is a network that discusses issues of substance, where civility is the hallmark of our network. This is from neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire. And in the interest of African solidarity, we chip in as well. Eduardo, I'm sure you love this music here. Look at my man, the report. Walk about you, I can see the man day by day, my man. Guess what? If you don't get money, sometimes you just roll in your bed. Your sleep, you can have almost like a nightmare because no concentration, no stable mind. You are like tormented, problems, blood pressure, cholesterol, everything going over the roof. And I said, because if you don't have money, you get mad for no reason. So that's it. What the old man on the world said, time has caught up with us here this evening. So I want to thank you so much for your time here. I'm Alphonso Zean Soe. This is how we're going to sign up. More of this coming to Liberia Public Radio and Scar TV of T. Mikes and legendary Martin Brown, Timmy O. We're going to be bringing more conversations, issues of national concern, and of course, you as a Liberian, in and out. Your participation will be highly, highly appreciated. Let's get this conversation out of the hands of the politician, because it's just all about themselves. We don't know what is what. We are gambling, and it is time for us to make informed decision. I want to thank you so much for your time, your patience, and your comments. Your Twitter, like our Facebook page. Continue to follow us, make suggestions as to how we can enhance and improve our broadcasting. Until then, have a pleasant evening. And we will see you when we see you. The Liberal Progressive will be returning. For the fans of the Liberal, just hold your peace. The Liberal will be here. Have a pleasant evening. Let me take you on from my own homeboy right here from the ocean state of Rhode Island. Legendary DJ Sam Achivon with his take-home song. Bye-bye.
Everybody, everything's going bad. The situation getting worse. Everybody in the country getting mad. Dishonesty, poverty on the rise. The leaders them making empty promises. Promises with no damn strategies. Yeah, this is better days. Better days, money in the pockets. Oh, after holidays. Holidays only for